Hello folks, Hector here with the Fanriot.com, here with another review. This time around we'll be reviewing the Fusion Pro controller by PowerA, which is for the Xbox One. This time around they didn't make one for the PS4, which is surprising because the previous controller had both a Xbox 360 and a PS3 version. Nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and move forward after the break. Please stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and dig into this review, but I want to go ahead and tell you that this will not only be a review, but it will also be a comparison to the original controller because I own it. So let's move forward. I got my package a few days ago, man, and I've had time to test the controller. I want to warn everybody that the packaging is going to come very light. If you have the original one, don't expect much, and I'm going to tell you why right away before we get into any details of what the actual functions are. So in the mail, this is what I got. This little box right here. Alright, so you know, you guys might be saying, well, what's the big deal? It's a small box. Xbox One now has all these sleek small packaging and all that kind of stuff. So and in a sense, you know, you guys are correct. However, this controller costs $79.99, and with tax and shipping I paid about 90 bucks. Let me show you what's inside this box. This is all the amazing content inside the box. Yes, I'm not kidding. It's a piece of plastic with this super small booklet, and I'm going to show you why this was a red flag for me right away, and why I was very disappointed with the package. Here's why. Wait one second. This is the original package for the original PowerA. Okay? Excuse all the scuffing, it's been sitting in the closet for a while, but let me show you what's actually inside. So you don't see the controller right away, but I'll show you that in a second. So not only does it come with the controller, but it comes with this really nifty case. This case is super high quality. It's very well made, you know, kind of high quality zipper, nice lining, very convenient. That's how it looks inside, and that's how the controller looks. So it pretty much comes like that. Obviously this has been moved around. I put this controller away, but very high quality. But you're not just getting the case, you get way more stuff here. So we get this little box with some special content inside. It comes with this insanely large, well, a good size at least, manual compared to the super tiny one that comes with the new one. Also comes with a full set of stickers. I have obviously used one already. I put it on my case. And obviously, not to be forgotten, the awesome grip changes or additional grips that you can actually swap out. I actually have the rubberized ones, which were the additional ones. These are the original matte plastic ones. Comes with a screwdriver and you know, the tools to change it. I found that was very neat. All this together, you know, with the stickers and, you know, obviously the awesome case, you know, felt like I got my money's worth. So right off the back, I felt a little gypped. I mean, it came in that little box. You know, I felt like, wow, they really didn't provide a case. How unfortunate is that? You know, like, that was one of the cool things that came in the package. I mean, you're paying $90 total, and they don't even bother to give you a small case, at least a bag, something. But there was nothing in there except for that piece of plastic, that manual, and the controller. So now we're going to get into the actual controller and see if it's actually worth all that money, because if they're going to give you such a you know, kind of crap package, then you're going to expect a lot from the controller. And I'm going to go right ahead and say that there are more features. The original controller didn't have any special triggers. It just has LED lighting, special grips. It just felt a lot better in your hand. Had a great mesh over power cable. And it felt very good quality, and it felt like it was worth the money. They actually gave you the case and everything. Let's move forward with the actual controller and you know, kind of get past all that kind of negativity that I have towards the box. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more on the controller. So obviously here it is. It has you know, just the standard PowerA logo there. It's all matte plastic. There is no rubber. It's just kind of slippery. And the cable is actually very nice. This time it's woven. It's not mesh. So it's kind of more standard in gaming now with, like, you know, the keyboards and everything's kind of high quality woven, which is great. But unfortunately this doesn't come off. I wish it would have been like a micro USB. And it does have the additional part towards the end of the actual cable where you can, you know, disconnect it. So let's get into a few things. These do come with the concave joysticks. It doesn't have any domed ones, and they do not come off. Also, the crosshair is decent, but it's very clicky. It feels it feels a little bit generic. And to be honest with you, the control doesn't feel all that great quality. I do have to give it a plus on a few things, but let me go over a few things that were kind of cool in the other one. The LED buttons. If you click those on, you can actually turn on. It kind of goes in random, or it switches from different colors, and you can actually pick your own color, like that fuchsia right there. I don't know if you can really see it. And then there's one for the domes on the joysticks, and it also changes to random colors. And then there's this one that's more on a kind of sequencing, and then you can pick your own colors. The downside to this is that the buttons no longer light up. That was kind of unfortunate. And another thing that's kind of weird is that even though you have all these options, there's actually the middle button is for brightness. There is no red. There is green. There is blue. There are several other colors, and instead of red, there's like a fuchsia. It's like a pink. And for a lot of people who do custom PCs like I do, this doesn't match anymore. The original does. So that was kind of a downside, and of course the LED lighting on the buttons. But actually, there's another negative, kind of a negative I have to give it. When you hold this all the way down, I don't think you can see it there, but it kind of comes off the edge a little. So when you're playing and say you're doing like a sharp turn, the LED inside actually kind of blinds you a little bit. It's kind of awful. You kind of want to turn it off, which sort of kind of defeats the purpose of this feature. Of course, the buttons don't light up anymore, so you can't see them in the dark. So you have to it kind of defeats the purpose of having all LEDs. It's just weird that they went that way, that they just kind of removed it. Also, so back to the functionality, these buttons, they feel okay. They feel like standard Xbox buttons. They don't feel like anything special. We have these other option buttons. We have this button here that actually helps you clone buttons. So let's say you hold this down, you click the button you want to clone. Even you can even use a click trigger, and then add them to the actually clone them to these back buttons. These two buttons right here. I'm gonna go ahead and say first of all that they don't function very well. It's very hard to hold. I could never really reach these comfortably without kind of hitting the top of this. I thought it was fairly inconvenient, and the fact that they're so kind of very clicky, and they actually take some force. They don't feel like something that you would kind of consider. I was playing Titanfall and several other games, and I tried to clone my melee and my reload, so I wouldn't have to keep moving back and forth into the two switches back here, and I kept forgetting to use them. Actually, one of the melee sometimes it stopped working after a while. I have no idea why. I had to remap it. Another thing, these domes don't go as far as the other ones do, but they're actually very sensitive. Actually, at one point I was actually doing a real like a left turn a few times actually, and it kept locking, or at least it would just go off into the right corner, or go up to it would just kind of go crazy. There's also like this weird clicky sound when you press down. I don't know if you can hear. Hold on. You can't really hear it unless you're close to the controller, but it makes almost like a plasticky kind of cheap click. Almost feels like it's slightly broken. I don't think it's broken. I just think that maybe some of the materials inside are cheaper than usual. So I've been saying a lot of negative things far, but I'm going to tell you what's good about it. These buttons up here are just amazing. I mean, they do feel a lot like the Xbox original controllers, but they're nice and soft, and they're actually very responsive. This one's very responsive, and then these actually have trigger locks in the back here that you can actually use to lock the buttons and actually have the distance a lot shorter. So when you're say you're playing Titanfall and you lock on to several bad guys, it doesn't take as long to get from the trigger to the actual activation for it to shoot. So your shooting is a lot quicker and a lot more accurate. So that helps a lot. The cabling is very well made, and it comes with that very nice strap that the original one has. But to be honest, this control is not worth $80. If they were going to put LED into this, they should have stuck with the button lighting as well. I have no idea why they did this, and so I was a little sad about that. Especially when I looked more information into it before I bought it. I investigated, and it said that it had switches and dim lights and all that kind of stuff, and that you can pick your own colors, kind of like the chroma ones for Razer. I thought, oh wow, there's going to be an awesome red in there that I can use. Not at all. And I'm going to show you the difference between this controller and the original one. Yeah, so there they are side to side. This is the original one. It also has sort of a kind of a stiff D-pad, but it's a lot bigger. It actually feels a lot smoother. It's not as clicky as that one. It's a lot quieter and actually feels a lot more stream-like. Then there's the little Xbox light there, and of course it has the LEDs that switch. But this one doesn't have any like randomizing switch buttons. It just kind of just picks from like 4 different colors. There's red, there's green, there's purple, there's pink, there's blue, and that's it. Well, actually there's 5 colors. And the fact that the buttons light up too is very cool. The domes light up, and instead of putting the feature here, I'm surprised they didn't add, you know, the LED back to the buttons. That's just so weird. The buttons on this one are a lot stiffer, but they're very accurate. They're much like the original Xbox 360 controller. But what I like a lot are these grips. The grips are very comfortable, and the control is fairly light. Also, even though the new one has the woven, this one has a mesh on the cable. But nonetheless, it's still good. It doesn't tangle. It's very hard. I mean, it's high quality. Very similar to this one over here. They're both very different, but they're both good quality. However, I knew what I was expecting when I got this as well, and I got what I asked for. I got what you know they were promoting. Decent LED lighting, decent buttons. The control is very sturdy. I've had this for a little bit, but I know people who've had the same controller for about 2 years, and it still looks exactly the same. This one feels a lot cheaper. The plastic feels a lot cheaper. It does have the new 3.5 millimeter insert for the headset there. It looks nice. Don't get me wrong, I like it, but it's just not worth $80-$90. This one was worth $80-$90. It came with the case, it came with additional grips. It didn't have any special triggers, but if you're gonna spend $90+ on a controller, you're expecting some actual buttons to actually work. I mean, these buttons were pretty much useless. They're very clicky, like I said. They're very hard to press and they're very hard to reach. I tried my best to reach these, and they're very forgetful because, you know, they're so far back and they're so kind of embedded into the controller that sometimes you forget they're even there. The controller is not all that bad. It works like a standard controller, works well, but I don't think it should be competing with the Elite or SCUF controllers. It's just not there. And I think, you know, the fact that they were hyping it up, I just thought, you know, it's sort of a very big disappointment. I'm so very disappointed. I was looking forward to this controller, and as soon as I saw it, I was right away disappointed with the box, and then it just kind of kept spiraling from there. No packaging, no case. I mean, if they had the special grips before, I don't see why they couldn't at least added a grip at the bottom, at least the bottom part of the controller, so they will eliminate having to swap these out. I know this is just kind of gimmicky, but it's actually very convenient. I mean, if these wear out after a while, you can just switch back to the original ones. It's like you got a brand new controller. So, unfortunately, there's, you know, I'm likely gonna return this one and go for the Elite and review that one, but I just think it's not worth $90. It's not a bad controller. I think it competes with the original Xbox One controller, but it definitely does not compete with the Elite controller and the SCUF controllers, and even the Razer ones that are out there. The Razer ones are pretty nice as well, and I think this one can slightly compete with the Razer ones, but I don't think it can really live up to it. This one maybe. This one's actually, like I said, I love this one. This is one of the best controllers I've ever owned. This one, unfortunately, couldn't live up to it. I know some people might love it. I don't. I just don't think it's up there. This one was. It was still a little overpriced, but the casing and everything that came with it justified it. And it felt like I had something that was of quality, where over here it just feels like they rehashed an Xbox One controller, added some lights to it, added those triggers and those useless buttons, and now here's a $90 controller, $79.99 with tax and shipping. I paid $90. Everybody's gonna pay around the same. I don't recommend you buy it, but if I recommend anything, I would look for this one. This one works if you're a PC gamer. You can actually plug this into your PC just like this one. And this one actually, for a while, GameStop had it for $20. You might still find it online for like $30-$40. If anything, I would still buy the original over that one. And it's sad to say that, you know, it just didn't live up to the hype. And I'm hoping to try other controllers. I know they have some really nice controllers. They've been bringing out some new stuff. I'm just not happy with the rehash of the original one. It just didn't live up to it. It had a lot to live up to, and it just couldn't meet those expectations. But sorry, folks, if you didn't agree with me, but that's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think on the comments section. Thanks again for watching. This is Hector from the Fanriot.com. Checking out. Have a great week.